Ethan never imagined that attending an alien wedding would change his life forever. He had been sent as a cultural liaison, a human observer in a grand interstellar ceremony meant to celebrate the union of two alien factions. Humanity had only recently established formal relations with the Lyrians, a highly advanced species known for their crystalline architecture and radiant ceremonial garb. Ethan was nervous, unsure of what he should expect. The invitation had been formal and lavish, yet the notion of attending a wedding on a distant planet made him feel like an intruder in a world far beyond his comprehension. The starship landed smoothly on the planet Lyra 5, a world bathed in a soft lavender light. Crystalline towers pierced the sky, reflecting hues of pink and gold, as if the sun itself had been filtered through prisms. Ethan stepped onto the landing platform, his human senses overwhelmed by the beauty of it all. The air carried a subtle fragrance, sweet and metallic at the same time, and the faint hum of energy fields reverberated through the ground beneath his boots. He was greeted by Leora, a Lyrian diplomat who had been assigned to guide him during the ceremony. She was graceful, her tall frame clothed in flowing garments that shimmered with what seemed like liquid light. Her eyes, wide and luminous, studied him with curiosity, yet there was no hint of mockery. "Welcome, Ethan," she said in perfect English, the universal translator embedded in his suit working flawlessly. "The ceremony begins soon. You must follow closely and do not attempt to interfere." Ethan nodded, feeling both honored and anxious. He had read extensively about Lyrian customs, but nothing could have prepared him for the magnitude of what he was about to witness. The wedding was not merely a union between two individuals. It was a political and spiritual bond, an alignment of entire houses whose influence spanned multiple star systems. Inside the crystalline palace, hundreds of Lyrians had gathered. They moved with a fluidity that made human gestures appear awkward and slow by comparison. The main hall glowed with an ethereal light, and at the center of it all stood the royal couple. The bride was breathtaking, even by Lyrian standards. She radiated a serene authority, her translucent gown rippling like water as she moved. Ethan felt a strange pull, a sense of recognition he could not explain. Her eyes met his for a fleeting moment, and he thought he saw a faint smile dot as the ceremony began. The air shimmered with energy. Lyrian chants resonated through the hall, creating vibrations that Ethan felt deep in his chest. He watched in awe as the couple exchanged symbolic crystals, each glowing with a unique pattern of colors. The ritual was mesmerizing, and yet, as the final vow was spoken, something unexpected happened. The bride suddenly turned toward Ethan and gestured for him to approach. Ethan froze. He was certain he had misinterpreted the situation, but the commanding look in her eyes left no room for hesitation. With a trembling step, he walked toward her, and the crowd fell silent. The bride held out a crystal, not to her groom, but to him. Liara rushed forward, whispering urgently, "Do not refuse. This is part of the Lyrian tradition you are not told about." Ethan hesitated for a heartbeat, then took the crystal. Instantly, a surge of energy coursed through him, connecting him to the bride in a way that transcended words or thought. The ceremony's chants intensified, and Ethan felt his consciousness expand. In that moment, he understood the unspoken vow. By accepting the crystal, he had become bound to her, an equal partner in the union, whether he had anticipated it or not. When the ritual concluded, Ethan was dazed. The Lyrians around him applauded in soft harmonic tones, and the bride smiled gently. "You have joined our family," she said, her voice both melodic and firm. "You are no longer a mere guest." The reality of his situation sank in slowly. Ethan was now, by Lyrian law and tradition, married to the king's daughter. His mind raced with questions, but the bride's gaze held a mixture of amusement and expectation. Leora guided him to a private chamber, explaining that human legal concepts did not apply here. This union is recognized across the Lyrian systems, she said. You cannot refuse it without causing offense that might escalate into political tension. In the days that followed, Ethan struggled to adjust. The palace was unlike anything he had ever experienced, a maze of crystal corridors and luminescent gardens. Meals were served by hovering attendants who anticipated every need before it was voiced. The king and queen treated him with a courteous formality, acknowledging his human status, but accepting him fully as part of their family. Yet the most challenging aspect was the bride herself. Her name was Alara, and she possessed a combination of intelligence, curiosity, and authority that left Ethan both intimidated and fascinated. She asked him questions about human life, customs, and emotions, often testing him with scenarios that had no simple answers. In return, she shared stories of Lyrian history, philosophy, and the complex relationships between their interstellar houses. One evening, as they walked through a garden where crystalline flowers emitted a soft glow, Alara spoke candidly. "You are different from anyone I have met," she said. "Humans have a resilience and unpredictability that fascinates us. Most would be terrified by what just happened, yet you adapted. You are brave, Ethan." He blushed, unsure how to respond. I'm trying to understand," he admitted. "Everything here is so overwhelming." Alara laughed softly, a sound like wind through chimes. "Understanding comes with time, but I think we will both learn much from each other." As the days turned into weeks, Ethan discovered that his human traits were indeed remarkable to the Lyrians. His ability to improvise, to show empathy, and to take risks without fear of failure earned him respect in the palace. He even began to participate in diplomatic councils, providing perspectives that Lyrians, with their calculated caution, had not considered. Alara observed him closely, often smiling at his interactions with her people. One day, a crisis erupted. A neighboring faction threatened to withdraw from a trade pact, citing mistrust of Lyrian decisions. The council debated for hours, and tension filled the crystalline hall. Ethan, drawing upon human experience in negotiation and conflict resolution, proposed a daring compromise that balanced both honor and practicality. The Lyrians were stunned by his audacity, yet it worked. The neighboring faction agreed, impressed by the solution. Alara's eyes shone with admiration, and for the first time, Ethan sensed not just respect, but something deeper. Life in the palace continued with its mixture of wonder and challenge. Ethan grew more comfortable in his new role, learning Lyrian customs and teaching them about humanity in return. He marveled at their technology, their art, and the intricate ways in which their society functioned. Alara remained a constant presence, guiding him, questioning him, and gradually opening her world to him. Months passed, and what had started as an accidental union transformed into genuine companionship. Ethan and Alara shared quiet moments, exploring crystal forests, stargazing from terraces high above the palace, and debating philosophical ideas long into the night. Ethan learned to anticipate her moods, and she began to value his intuition and courage. The bond formed through the wedding ritual deepened into something both spiritual and emotional. The human ambassador to the Lyrians visited one afternoon, expressing concern over Ethan's situation. "He cannot remain married to an alien princess," the ambassador argued. "It is not recognized under human law, and he has obligations back on Earth." Ethan shook his head. "I understand, but I do not wish to leave," he said. "This place, these people, and Alara, they have become my life. I have learned more here than I could have ever imagined." Alara, who had been standing quietly, placed a hand on his arm. "He is our bridge," she said firmly. "Humans and Lyrians can learn from each other. He is part of our family, and I choose him, not because of ritual, but because I wish it. In time, humanity formally recognized the union as a cultural alliance. Even if it carried no legal standing on Earth, the Lyrians celebrated with renewed enthusiasm, and Ethan's role became that of a liaison, advisor, and husband. The palace that had once felt alien now became home, a place of learning, growth, and unexpected joy. Ethan never forgot the moment he had taken the crystal, the instant that had bound him to Alara and changed the course of his life. What had seemed like a bewildering accident had become the foundation of something extraordinary. He realized that humanity's strength was not only in technology or strategy, but in adaptability, courage, and the ability to connect with others, even across the vast gulf of Space Dot. As he stood with Alara on a terrace overlooking the shimmering city, Ethan felt a profound sense of belonging. He had come to an extraterrestrial wedding as a guest and had found a world that challenged and inspired him, a partner who saw his worth, and a purpose that stretched beyond the stars. Humanity had proved itself once again, not through conquest, but through character, and he was living proof of it. Alara turned to him, her eyes reflecting the crystal towers bathed in starlight. "Are you ready for what comes next?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "With you, I am ready for anything." Together, they watched as Lyra 5 glowed beneath the twin moons, a planet of wonder, a kingdom of light, and a home where two very different worlds had found common ground. Humanity had arrived in the universe, not just as explorers or diplomats, but as beings capable,